This article is another prime example of how big agriculture has a firm grip on the politicians and regulatory agencies that are in theory, supposed to keep, these meat and animal product producers accountable for the safety, of their workers. But of course, they don't, because politicians, these regulatory agencies, are bought and paid for, by these same animal agriculture companies and factory farms and whatnot. So I'll link this down below. Derision, disbelief after Iowa meatpacking plant where hundreds caught coronavirus fined just $957. And again, this is working in one of these meatpacking places or slaughterhouses. Hugely dangerous job, often filled by, migrant workers, because the, employer is able to exploit them, make them work in, very dangerous, unsanitary conditions, exposing them to COVID in this case, and not really, the workers. Obviously, if you're in that vulnerable spot, you're not going to feel like, well, I can, speak up or, call out shitty stuff that's going on, because that's just the power dynamics are even more extreme then. And it's just disgusting. It's disgusting. So this facility that was fined a paltry $957, 338 of the facility's 850 employees tested positive for COVID-19 during the April outbreak that produced one of the state's first hotspots, and this is in Iowa. It's disgusting. And they were able to negotiate it down. It was supposed to be around $2,000, and they were able to negotiate down to an even more paltry $957. Jesus. I mean, what's literally almost half the workers at this meatpacking plant tested positive for COVID. The company gets less than a slap on the wrist. It's more like a gentle tap. So again, it's, if you want to prevent these companies from endangering their workers, then you would obviously levied a much, much larger fine on them. It's disgusting. Yeah, so the OSHA, Iowa Premium Beef negotiated down their Iowa OSHA fine from $1914 to $957. Yes, America. And then, so again, this isn't the first example of this happening recently. The first Iowa fine comes less than 2 weeks after the U.S. Labor Department fined JBS Foods, the U.S. subsidiary of Brazilian giant JBS SA, which with over $50 billion in annual sales is the world's largest meat producing company, a paltry $15,615 for failing to adequately protect workers against coronavirus. Again, this company is a subsidiary of the world's largest meat packing with $50 billion in sales, and for endangering the lives of their workers, putting the workers' lives even at more risk, because again, this is a very dangerous job. You're, in a slaughterhouse especially, exposed to and having to commit all of that violence, all the killing and the fast pace and all the machinery. It's very, very dangerous. And just the violence that these companies are inflicting on these workers, it's really fucked up. Beatrice Rangel, daughter of Saul Sanchez, the first JBS food employee to die of COVID-19, called the small fine a slap in the face. Indeed. And then so here you look, the revolving door between these industries And then the regulatory agencies who are supposed to, in theory, make sure they're living up to these standards and regulations. So, they're not giving us poison food, or they're not exposing their workers to all these workplace hazards, in this case, COVID-19. Secretary of Agriculture Sonny Perdue, an agribusiness tycoon and former Georgia governor with a long history of corruption, has been criticized for pushing meat processing facilities to remain open or quickly reopen during the coronavirus pandemic. The meatpacking industry in Iowa has been described as too big to fail, wielding tremendous political power in the heavily agricultural Midwestern state. A story like this to me is just another good reason to go vegan, or at least lessen the amount of animal products that you consume. Because, I'll just leave it at that. Peace. What's up?